Big global headline, of course, is the launch of the Apple credit card and how easy it's going to make all of our lives, especially the Apple users. But we're going to talk about that in greater detail later. For now, get back to our own markets. The SGX Nifty is indicating that the start will be flat after what has been a couple of weak days. Let's see which way it goes. Our research team is here to give you the list of top 10 stocks as we head into trade today. Anuj, what are you looking at today?
You know, call me old-fashioned, but I get scared with all these new techniques of payments and all. But anyway, you know, I have two stocks. One is Jubilant Foodworks. There was quite a bit of delivery buying in the stock yesterday, and it looks like it's sort of breaking out. It's filled that entire gap when that whole royalty issue had emerged, and after that, the promoter stake sale. It's been so easily, you know, sort of gone through, and after that the stock just moved on. So it's absorbed well by the market. So my sense is perhaps the stock should move up. The other one is Power Grid. PSU stocks are doing well, and NTPC and Power Grid in particular have seen very strong delivery buying for a few days. Power Grid yesterday as well was up quite a bit. There's hardly any correction in the stock. It's trading above all its key moving averages. So that could be another stock to watch today.
Okay. Well, on the contrary, I welcome this product very happily. Because what's going to happen is you don't have to wait at the teller to pay. As you move, your, the amount gets deducted. So I was...
The Apple credit card is what you're talking about.
Apple credit card. The only reason why I don't go to malls to shop is that line to pay is so long that your local Kirana shop is so much better. But now, you know, one impediment removed.
Well, what happens if your Apple phone gets stolen is the other question, right?
No, but
always, there's a passcode.
That's always a worry. That's always a worry. I mean, especially for a journalist, it's, I guess, life. But okay. So, yeah, I think the most important stock people will be watching out for will be Jet. So, first, what the release said.
Okay, so as we know, just the key lines first. Jet Airways, Naresh Goyal and Anita Goyal have decided to step down from the board. So it's an end of an era there. After 25 years starting the airline, finally Goyal moves out and the banks move in. He ceases to be chairman of the company. Now immediately the lenders will infuse 1,500 crores via debt instruments. Jet Airways says that they will convert the debt to equity of ₹1 each to issue 11.4 crore shares. The board will form an interim management committee to monitor the daily operations and cash flow. Now, the general feedback is yes, the resolution plan is a setback for minority shareholders because for ₹1, the lenders have got 11.4 crore shares of Jet. There is no reduction in debt or liability, and the value of retail shareholding is cut by half. So that is the general feedback. However, immediately there will be an infusion of 1,500 crores, so that will be a big support for Jet. You know, the government will bring in some investor to run Jet. So, you know, it's not a shutdown of an airline, which is a big positive as well. That's why we expect the stock perhaps to continue to be in the green.
Oh, yes. And, you know, we were discussing this. Something happened, because otherwise the stock would have by now broken 150. 3 days or 4 days back, we were discussing this. Now, of course, there's fresh lease of life. So perhaps there could be... also, the stock is out of F&O ban. It was in F&O ban till yesterday. It's out of F&O ban. It's trading at a discount. So there could be some more short covering.
Also, I just want to point out, Interglobe was a stock that was rallying all this while in anticipation that, you know, the business could move to Interglobe. Now with Jet's resumption, perhaps today you could see some sentimental downtick on it.
Yeah, it already happened yesterday. It actually fell. Yesterday it fell about 40 rupees. Yesterday, Indigo closed at the lowest point. Bring out Indigo's intraday chart yesterday. You know, it's been the stock of the last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. Actually,
that's of course the comparison. But we see yesterday's chart.
Yeah.
You know, started at 1452. It ended at 1384. That was a one-way downward slide that you had. So market price that in yesterday. Perhaps some more could be there today. But let us see. Let's not forget that it's still the, you know, it might be trading play. Jet versus Indigo, but Indigo still is the airline which still, you know, makes the money, and you know, at the end of the day has shown you how to run an airline. So it's all about trader versus investor right now. But anyway, banks will also be positively impacted.
You know, Anuj, just to hark back to why is Jet trading about 250? For the longest time, I used to wonder why Kingfisher is trading at all, because it was looking like it is imploding, it is imploding, but hope was, you know, continual. So even here, one hopes the story is different, because the story is no different from the way banks are behaving now from the way they behaved then. At that time, IDBI gave a lifeline of 940 crore, which they, you know, lived to regret because you had actually 3 of the independent directors and their executive directors being actually investigated by the CBI, taken to prison as well. So at the moment, it's a trade of hope that 1,500 crores has been given. So my sense is immediately these banks are going to take it as a negative. After they are able to sell it off, that on April 20th, the deal closes where people have to put in their expression of interest. And by May 31st, you will have a buyer. Then perhaps it will recover. For the moment, it's a little more money on the
but
risk.
I'll tell you one thing. This is one difference. A lot of people say, and the fact is that this time, because of IBC and other factors, promoters have fear of losing their company. That was not the case in 2009 to 14. Let's be very clear about this.
I'll tell you, Anuj, the difference
the fact that SRC, for example, getting away from the Ruiyas, so much money coming back into the banking system. That's different. That's the governance difference, and that's something.
Governance difference is important, but in a services company, it doesn't work. Because if you try to sell Jet, that is why they're working so hard not to take it to IBC, because what is there in an airline company? A few parking slots is all they have. You don't get anything if you rip it apart and sell it. A service company sells only when the service is on. So in this particular case, it's not very helpful that there is an IBC here. It's a hope trade.
But services will resume, right? I mean, because
so you can't do an IBC, is what I'm saying. In a services company, that's what Rajneesh Kumar said yesterday. There is no point talking about IBC because then it will implode even before that. So now it's a hope. I don't think the bank stocks are going to be very cheerful today. For them, they are taking a little more responsibility, is my reading. But let's see how they trade.
Okay, so let's see which way these stocks go, but they will definitely be in the news. DLF is another stock that will be in the news this morning. Sonal is here to tell us about some fundraising that the company has decided to do. Sonal?
Well, finally, they have announced a QIP. It was a long impending QIP that they announced during the DCDDL deal. And now they are already earmarked 17.3 crore shares back during the deal. And now they've announced the offer price, the floor price, that is at 193 rupees per share. This compares with the current market price of around 186 rupees per share. They have an option of a discount of around 5% on this offer price. They will be deciding the price on 28th of March. They have another board meeting. This will bring in around 3,300 crore rupees into the company. This will be used to pare down their debt, that is around 7,200 crore rupees. So the promoter infusion plus this consideration from the QIP will be used to reduce the debt in the development company that stands around 7,200 crore rupees. So this definitely is a positive for DLF.
All right, Sonal, thanks a lot for that. Nimesh has a couple of stocks on his radar, Indiabulls and Zee Entertainment.
Yes, and so both the Zee management and Indiabulls management were at the Credit Suisse Asia Hong Kong conference and they spoke at the conference in London with the investors. So key takeaways from first on the Zee management, what they said at the conference. Puneet Goenka was present at the conference and they said that the growth remains sanguine and there is a firm commitment to invest further into digital. But that's on the growth part. But the key takeaway was on the stake sale. They've just reiterated what they've said earlier as well, that the deal is on track. A buyer will be finalized within the stipulated guidelines, which is April and May, and the final deal will be concluded before September 2019, as it was promised to the lenders. So that's something to watch out for. And of course, there is further indication that most likely they will ensure that the management continuity is there in Zee. So that is an indication that maybe in case of the deal, the existing management will continue with the new buyer, is what he indicated to the investor at the conference. So that was on Zee. On Indiabulls Housing, Gagan Banka was there at the conference and he spoke in length. On the businesses front, he remained cautiously optimistic on the liquidity environment. He said at the conference that maybe for the next 1 or 2 quarters, the growth will be subdued. He's confident of achieving 20% growth in FY20. The cost has gone up by 50 or 40 bips, but he was confident of a pass-through in that sense, so there is no concern on that. Interestingly, on the banking license, he did mention that yes, they are keen to look to buy a small bank and look at a banking license if it fits into the strategy. But specifically on LBV, which was a huge rumor doing the rounds over the last few weeks, that they may look to buy Lakshmi Vilas Bank. There he is very categorically, he denied to us as well in the past, and even there he said there is nothing on the table right now as far as LBV is concerned. So while they're interested in a small bank, but nothing as far as LBV is concerned, is what Indiabulls said at the conference as well. So that just puts the rest to all the speculations. But on the growth front, he do expects that it will be soft for at least 1 or 2 quarters.
Yeah, actually, I mean, from the start, your banking license was not something that the street should have believed. ICICI Pru is doing an offer for sale, Abhishek.
One of the promoters in ICICI Pru, that is Prudential Corporation, is looking to sell about 2.6% equity in ICICI Pru. So they also have an oversubscription offer of about 1.11%. So overall, they are looking to sell 5.3 crore shares or about 3.7% equity in ICICI Pru. So at a base price of rupees 300, they would look to garner around rupees 1,600 crores. So the offer actually opens for non-retail investors today, while for retail investors it will be tomorrow. And as per the SEBI shareholding norms, the promoter holding will fall slightly below 75% at around 74.98% post this offer for sale. Back to you.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. Well, moving on, Kalpataru Power is also on our radar today. Anisha is with us to tell us why she's watching that name. Hi, Anisha.
Hi Sonia, good morning. Well, I'm watching it for Kalpataru Power because one of their wholly owned subsidiaries has actually made an acquisition and they are picking up an EPC business in Sweden. The enterprise value is around $24 million, which works out around 165 crore rupees, and they are looking to pick up 85% stake. They say that the deal would be completed in Q1 of FY20 and that mostly this deal would be a cash deal and would be funded by the internal accruals. Also, the fact that it is a profitable company and the valuation is around 6 or 7 times EV to EBITDA makes it a fair deal. The company is looking to also foray into the Nordic region, wherein they have no presence as of now. So it looks like a positive deal and the stock should react positively.
Okay. Well, that's quite an ambition to do an EPC business in Sweden. Rima, you have some IT stocks on your radar?
Spotlight on the BFSI sector for the IT companies because that contributes close to about 30% to the overall revenue. Now, Nomura has come out with a note where they've analyzed the financials of the Fortune 500 companies in the United States, and the data will be up for you on your screen because it suggests that the BFSI momentum is actually weakening both in US as well as in Europe, while insurance remains quite strong. So if you see in 2018, this is the calendar year 2018, BFSI US growth, the growth has moderated. Even in Europe, in the last 2 or 3 quarters, the growth has been on the flatter side. Let's move on to insurance because that continues to remain quite healthy. This also ties in with what the companies have been telling the brokerage houses in the last 1 month. So I've just collated a couple of the views. So TCS, when they met Nomura, and this note was published, I think, on the 20th of March, so a week ago, they indicated that BFSI growth is plateauing. They believe the improvement over the past 4 quarters with growth accelerating to 9% year on year cannot be extrapolated and growth could hit a plateau. Cognizant also saying that in 3 of their top 5 accounts, they still see pressure. So that is an improvement compared to the past where 5 of their BFSI accounts were weaker. And Wipro also says that BFSI will moderate in FY20 vis-a-vis FY19. So this is what Nomura picked up in their management speak. Infosys spoke to CLSA earlier this month where they believe that banking is doing well. North America is stronger than Europe. Back to you.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. Well, moving on, Mangalam is also here with us to tell us about some stocks that are in the news today. Hi, Mangalam.
Hi, Sonia. So I'll call this list a pinch of salt list because the news pieces are incrementally positive. The first one is ITC and Reliance. That's because Reliance Brands has bought John Players from ITC for 150 crore rupees. Now, knowing the size of these companies, this is a very small amount. However, this is directionally positive for both Reliance Retail and ITC. The other stock that I have on my radar is NTPC. The stock is up 15% over the last 1 month, and now CLSA has written saying that 4 new plants worth $3 billion have been operational in the last 6 days. So that is a positive. They have a buy rating on the stock. The third one is Suzlon. Again, remember, from February lows of around 3.5 rupees, the stock has more than doubled to around 6.5 rupees. They've completed stake sale in some of their subsidiaries for about 100 crore rupees odd. And finally, we have Raymond. There are reports that suggest that the company is opening a new realty division, and this is to monetize the Thane land. Let's see whether that happens or not. But as of now, these are the stocks with the news.
Okay, let's thank our entire research team for joining us. Take a quick break. Coming up on the other side, after 3 days of ending in the red, how do you approach the markets today? Plenty of technical advice coming up with Ashwini Gujral, Sudarshan Sukhani and Nitish Thakkar.